Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where today I'm bringing you this winged eyeliner and lashes tutorial.
You got it, girl, you got it. Wanna go round. Trips that you plan for the next whole week. Bands too long for niggas so cheap. And flex OD and sex OD. You got it, girl, you got it. Hey. You got it, girl, you got it. Yeah. Pretty little thing, you got a bag and now you ballin'. You just took it off the line.
Now this was one of the most heavily requested videos on my poll on Instagram a few weeks ago that I put up, asking everyone what they wanted to see more of on my YouTube channel. And nearly everyone replied saying that the two biggest things they struggle with is winged eyeliner and applying false lashes. I feel you guys, the struggle is real, but today I'm going to take you through both of those things and hopefully make it a lot easier for you. But before we get started, I also have a little free gift that I'm giving away. So if you ever wanted to know how to create kind of like your very own perfect makeup kit or your makeup bag, or you just need some help, you know, organizing all the ton of stuff that you've got at home. So I've created this free little checklist that you can use to kind of help you do that. You know, maybe you can use it when you're going makeup shopping or to organize your makeup bag, or simply you just need to know what goes into sort of like the perfect makeup kit. It's free to download, it's on the link below, so go ahead and enjoy that. So in case you guys want to know more about what I've used on my skin, head over to my Instagram because that's where I usually pop like most of my base and skin videos. Now all I've done so far is popped a little bit of concealer on my eyelids and a little bit of eyeshadow primer as well. Even though we're not using much eyeshadow today, it's still important to use an eyeshadow primer because you want your eyeliner to stay put. Like you don't want that winged eyeliner going anywhere. So the primer kind of gives it a nice base to stick onto and it'll just go on a lot smoother as well. But before we get started with the eyeliner guys, I'm just going to use a nice little warm crease colour to go in first, and I'm just using the Raw Sienna shade from the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. So I'm just going to pop this into the crease, and today the blending brush I'm using is from a brand called Spectrum. And even when I'm doing like a classic winged eyeliner look, I still like to use a bit of a crease colour because I find it just gives the eye like a little bit of shape, a bit of definition. And then I usually pop the same colour underneath as well, just to create that nice soft shadow at the bottom. So then we're ready for our winged liner, and don't worry guys, you've got this. Don't let it sense your fear because I truly believe winged liner really does. So let's face this together. And today I'm going to go in with the liquid eyeliner from MAC. And this sort of looks like a little bit of a felt tip pen, which is why I like it. The actual point is very, very thin. It's really nice and easy to use. And I feel like if you're a beginner at winged liner, then starting with liquid before you do, you know, kind of gel is probably going to be easier. Also, because it's a bit like a pen, it's like easier to handle as well. Okay guys, so we're going to take this nice and slow and we're going to do winged eyeliner in 3 easy steps. Your first step is getting the angle right. So what you want to focus on is kind of like that corner of the eye up to the end of the brow. So it's that angle just there. And if you need to kind of map it out, you can use your, you know, eyeliner or like the end of a brush if you feel like that's easier. Once you've mapped that out, you want to just take your pen and just create a little stamp, just like that. So you probably won't even be able to see it much on the camera, but it's like a tiny little line. So all I've done is just kind of marked where that angle is. So at this point, don't worry too much about creating, you know, a nice big wing. That will come with time and in patience. All you want to do is just mark out, just like using like the end of the tip, just there, to create like a tiny little line, just focusing where that angle is. Then next up, you're going to draw your baseline, and you're going to do this by just using the whole side of the pen. So what you're not going to do is use the tip like that. So a lot of us, we kind of go directly in with the tip, and that can be, firstly, it can be quite scary because it's like, whoa, like a pen coming right at your face. But secondly, it makes it like a lot less sturdy. So, you know, if you're holding it on its side, that's going to make your life so much easier. And if you just rest that on your lashes first before you're ready to kind of actually do anything, once you've rested it and you're nice and solid, then you can start to just take that across just the tops of the lashes. Don't worry about joining it or, you know, even the corners, like just forget the corners for now. Like you don't need to worry about joining it up just yet. Just kind of focus on creating that nice straight line just along the top lash line. And I promise you, if you use the side of the pen, you'll find your line will also be a lot thinner. And try and get it as close to your eyelashes as possible. Now guys, I want you to keep in mind that when I'm doing this, I'm actually looking down into a mirror. So what you're seeing on the camera is me just looking down. So even when you do this at home, you're going to need to get like a kind of like a bathroom mirror type of thing, or something you can tilt and rest on like a table. Once you've tilted that, can you see how I'm kind of looking down into it? So my eye's nice and straight. I'm not sort of doing this, you know, and you're trying to like kind of pull it with one hand and everything's just going everywhere. So just keep it nice and straight by looking down. That way you can actually see what you're doing. And the other thing is rest your elbow on the actual table. So when you're resting your elbow, your hand's nice and steady, or as steady as it can be, and it makes your life so much easier. So guys, your third step is to create that wing. And I know this is where we feel the pressure. I'm feeling it too, don't worry. But what you're going to do is basically that line that you first created just there, where you did that kind of tiny little stamp, you know, just to get the angle right. You're going to go from there and then draw a line joining back onto your baseline. So instead of going outwards, which is where we often go wrong because we're trying to create that wing straight away, you kind of just want to go from there to join back onto your baseline. Just like that. Once you've done that, you'll see that there's almost like an empty little triangle that you've just created. So, because when you've drawn that line and you've drawn it from there back onto your baseline, there'll be like a bit of a gap just in there. And that's the gap then you want to start to fill in. And that, guys, starts to create like the first base of your wing. So you can see here, you've got a nice smooth sort of line at the top, nice bit of definition. Your wing is going at the right angle, which is the main thing. And also it's started to create that nice, cute little wing. Now, some of you might just like to leave it like that, like a nice little baby wing. Some of you might want to extend it, but this is now where you can play around with it. So you can start to maybe make this a bit thicker by going over it. You can start to just maybe lengthen out that wing. So what you would do is go from that little triangle that you just did, that little baby wing, and just slowly flick that out to extend your wing out. So guys, if you got through that bit and you're still with me, well done for not giving up. Remember, if you've got any mistakes that you might need to fix, cotton buds are your best friend. So for example, if you want to just like sharpen up your wing, then literally just dip your cotton bud in like some eye makeup remover, and you can just use it to just swipe off like anything that you need to fix. And if you find it a lot easier to do your eyes first, then I would definitely recommend doing that as well. That way, if you mess up your wing liner, you're not messing up the rest of your base, and you can just like clean and wipe away and no one's going to know any different. So next up, we're going to move on to doing lashes. And I'm going to use a brand called Victorous lashes. They're a great online brand. Check them out on Instagram or just on their website. But they do some really good lashes for some good prices as well. And you can see that they've got loads of different styles, so you can take your pick. But I'm going to go in with these ones called Addictive. And I love how kind of, you know, wispy they are. Now, before you pop on your lashes, you want to make sure that you've curled your eyelashes and popped mascara on them before. This just makes sure that your lashes sit way better and kind of blend in with your natural eyelashes as well. So I'm just going to go in with my Uemura eyelash curler, and I swear this is the only eyelash curler that has ever kind of like, you know, curled my eyelashes properly. And then I'm going in with my Max Factor False Lash Mascara, and this mascara I've been using for like over 10 years. It never does me wrong. I've tried others, but I just find the formula never kind of, you know, keeps my lashes up, if that makes sense. It always drags it down. So I just find this one in particular, and I use the waterproof version, but it's just always the best one for me. So now we're ready to pop on our false eyelashes. And before we do that, I'm just going to take my duo glue, and this is like my favorite eyelash glue to use. I've always just found this works for me, keeps my eyelashes on. And what I'm going to do before we get started is actually pop this, like a little blob of glue, onto the back of my hand. And you're basically just going to leave that glue to sit on your hand while we do the next bit. Just make sure while you've got the glue on your hand that you're not getting it in your hair, because I do that all the time. So I either like do this and flick my hair back, and then I'm like, oh, well, that happened. So then we've got to trim these lashes. Now, I see it all the time where people think that, you know, that width is going to fit all eye shapes. That's made for one kind of just, you know, your standard eye shape size, and everyone's going to be different. So we need to make sure we trim these. Funny little story, when I was 19 was the first time that I ever wore lashes. So this is now like about 9 years ago. And back then, like, you know, I was the only one really wearing lashes and makeup, like out of my little group of friends, and no one told me you had to trim them. So now I have pictures from my 19th birthday where my eyelashes have like a little flap. So you can just see this little flap on the ends because I didn't trim them. And well, if you want to avoid that, guys, and, you know, your picture's basically looking like you've got little wings on the end of your eyes, then probably best to trim these. What you want to do first is obviously you need to know how much you need to trim them, so you're going to measure it. So if you again tilt your mirror so you're looking down into it, and then just simply place the eyelash, you know, and at this point you're not sticking it on, you're just kind of measuring how much you might need to trim. So just place the eyelash, but the trick is not to place the eyelash right on the inside. Guys, we're human. None of us have like eyelashes right on the inside of the corners of our eyes. You want to avoid your tear duct because that's when your eyes start to water. So basically, if you put this too close to your tear duct, that's when it starts watering, and that's when we're like, oh, it's not sticking, and you know, it's like kind of like irritating my eye. So when you've placed it, you basically place it kind of like a little bit of the way in, roughly where like, you know, your natural eyelashes sort of start. When you look up, you'll see the little flap. Just hold it around there, so where the end of your eye is, and then when you take that off, that's how you know how much you need to trim that by. And when you trim them, guys, you want to trim them facing the band, not the actual like kind of hair, if that makes sense, because otherwise you'll end up like cutting the actual lashes part. And now you're ready to stick them. So do you remember that glue that we had sitting at the back of our hand for a little bit? Now the reason you've done that is because if you go immediately with like wet glue onto your eyelashes, have you ever noticed that when you try and stick them, they're just like sliding around like all over the place, and then it becomes a mess, and then you basically give up, or you decide that you just don't want to go out anymore, which is usually what happens to me if I get into a bit of a mood. So to save that from happening, when you've let this glue kind of dry a little bit on the back of your hand, it goes tacky, which means that it's so much easier to stick. So then all you want to do is get the end of like your tweezer, or you know, just end of a brush or something, and you dip it into the glue, and then you can literally just use the edge of the tweezer or the brush just to line that glue along the band. And you don't need a lot of glue, guys, just like a really nice thin layer. And this is a way better idea than getting, you know, your glue and directly trying to put that onto lash band, because I've had that happen where the glue just comes out in one go and it's like plop. Then once you're ready, you're going to look down into a mirror, you're going to take your eyelash, and you're basically going to go on top of your lash line, and you're going to stick the center down first. So just stick down the center for now. Once you've stuck down the center and it's nice and secure, then you can start to grab the corners and secure those as well. And you will notice, because the glue is tacky, once you've done the center, the rest will be so much easier. So just now start to sort of adjust the corners, you know, slide it around a little bit if you need to just adjust where it is on your eye. And then once you're happy with that, you can use your tweezer, and do this very, very carefully, please, guys. You don't want to hurt yourselves. So if you are not careful, if you're someone who is a bit clumsy, get some eyelash tweezers. They're basically like kind of almost like safety tweezers. They don't have a point. They kind of go like lengthways, so they fit along your lash line. And what you're going to do is you're going to use this to very gently squeeze your natural lashes and the false lashes together so that they blend in nicely. But like I said, guys, please do not put these really close to your lash line. You know, you want to kind of do it a little bit further away from your actual like lash line just there. So you can see that I'm just doing it about here. I'm not going directly inside to do that. Like I said, you can get lash tweezers. I think a couple of brands do them. I think Bourjois definitely has one. I know MAC do them, and they're a little bit more safer to do that as well. So guys, those are your eyelashes done, and if you need to, you can use your eyeliner to just go over your lash band again, just to cover that up. And basically that makes everything kind of blend in really nicely together, and also helps it to look even more like those false eyelashes are like your own secretly. Even though we're keeping this look quite classic, you can still add a touch of glam. Now you can just do that by adding in your inner corner highlight. Now you know me, guys, I love my inner corner highlight. I love highlight in general, so obviously I had to add this into the look. So guys, of course, what goes better with a wing liner than a classic red lip? And I've used this combination of these two products today. The first one is a lip pencil from MAC, and this is in the shade Cherry. And then one of my favorite liquid lipsticks at the moment. This is by a new brand that I've just recently tried out called by Jess D. And the liquid lipsticks are just amazing. Like, when I say they don't dry out your lip, they really don't dry out your lip. They go on really nice and smooth. It feels soft, if that makes sense, like a velvet kind of matte finish. They are available online, so I think it's on Instagram as well. And this one is in the shade Dabble, and I'm telling you, this brand by Jess D have got some amazing color ranges for like all skin tones. And it's really hard to find like a liquid matte lipstick that isn't, you know, kind of drying but still lasts long. I definitely recommend going to check these out. I think they do lip glosses as well if you're more of like a gloss fan, but I love the liquid lipsticks. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed today's video. It was so heavily requested, so please, if it helped you out, do let me know. I love hearing from you guys. So if you tried out this tutorial and you finally got the hang of winged eyeliner, or you finally managed to put on those eyelashes that have always caused you a struggle, then definitely drop me a message, or you know, just drop me a comment below, and I'd love to hear from you. And this is why I make these videos, guys, to kind of just make makeup fun and easy for everyone to do. So if it's helped you out, definitely let me know, or maybe just share it with someone who you think it might also help as well. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials like this as well every week. And as always, guys, stay beautiful, stay you. So just in guys, this is from the Modern Race, because then there's no. It was requested so much, so if